Hey there. Welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of GSPN and the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windisch. I am joined as always by I don't even know. I need something positive in my life after watching Bucks Rockets. The glowing Rohan Katti. Rohan, how's it going?
I'm not doing particularly well considering I just watched Bucks Rockets. But
bad basketball. I know you're the same as me. Everyone tells me to calm down after a game like that, and it's not. I'm not doom and gloom about the Bucks. I'm just pissed off. I had to watch the Bucks play bad basketball. It's annoying to me. They're good. If they were the Rockets and they played bad, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Let me update my Wembanyama odds. They're a good basketball team. They should play better basketball than this. It's frustrating. I'm frustrated.
Yeah, it is. It is frustrating. You know what else is frustrating, Ty?
What's
people
that?
listening to this but not subscribed wherever they're watching this, listening to this. Make sure if you want to help us feel less frustrated, check out the YouTube to see Ty's stank face. But make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast platform of choice. YouTube helps out a lot. But yeah, that wasn't fun.
Hey, I got something to lift your spirits. That face, that funny face reminded me. Do you know what a girl in college once said I looked like? Are you ready for this?
I don't know where this is going.
It's not positive.
Oh, no.
She said, you look like Jrue from Despicable Me. I don't know why that face reminded me of that. That's one that like I felt like, Giannis's monologue about how he's been to the bottom. That's how I feel now after going through a you look like Jrue in college. That's my airballing free throws in Oklahoma City right there.
That is tough. That's just like why?
I know. We're supposedly friends at the time. Oh, well, we're not anymore. So
good. It seems like you leveled up.
Yeah, well, it's, low bar. But anyway, I needed that levity in my life. The Bucks lose, let's see, 97-92. To the Rockets 2 nights after barely escaping with a win in Dallas. A truly incomprehensible game. We're not going to go too deep into either of these games as usual. Instead, just kind of going through the whole team and where things are at. Khris Middleton, probably the biggest news from this weekend slate of games, left the Rockets game pretty early, about 6 minutes in for him with a supposed sprained ankle. He asked to be subbed out. We didn't see it happen live. We'll talk about that more in detail later, hoping that we maybe learn some more about that during this podcast, but we'll see. Either way, we'll discuss it. But really not a good game for Giannis. I think give some credit to the Rockets, who I think played really hard and did a really good job forming a barrier, packing the paint, playing with aggression, getting out and running after turnovers, which the Bucks had a ton of turnovers in this game. But Giannis didn't play well. Grayson Allen really played poorly. And despite Jrue Holiday having another good game, which hopefully we can start there, keep the positivity going. The Bucks were not able to win, which is tough given it's a hard 10-game stretch for these next, until right after Christmas, I think, for the Bucks. A lot of road games, a lot of tough games. So getting this one against Houston would have been nice. However, it is what it is.
We also we do have some Bud comments on Khris Middleton, so we can just talk about that right away.
Sure.
So this is from our pal at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Jim Ozarski. He said he used Bud's quote on Khris Middleton. He said he should be fine. It's a couple of very minor things. Hopefully he'll be fine.
Couple of things. Don't love that.
No. Also, he said he should be fine, and then one sentence later says, hopefully he will be fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to be that worried about it, but it's not ideal.
No, I mean, it's because, like you were saying, it was ruled out as a left ankle injury, but, right when he was getting subbed out, when he asked to get subbed out, you couldn't really see anything happen. There was no contact, nothing. You couldn't really see an ankle turn or anything, so it's a little bit concerning, but if Bud says he'll be fine in cryptic ways that only Mike Budenholzer can do, think we have to take his word for it? Him on his word?
No, I think so. I think there was a little bit from some people fear of something really bad because I think there's a difference, an important difference between not seeing or not being able to perceive what happened with Khris and a non-contact injury. And I wouldn't call this a non-contact injury. Like that, I think really scares people, that idea. We don't know what's wrong. We just need to wait and see more. But I'm not going to have red alert on. I don't expect him to play against the Warriors on Tuesday. I would imagine he gets at least one more game off if he was immediately ruled out of this game. We'll see, though. But that's the issue of this part of the schedule where for their next 7 games now, the Bucks have no more than one off day. No back-to-backs, but no double rest days. So would imagine this will probably cost him at least one game here. But as we continue to say, if you're going to have injuries, have them in the first year part of the NBA calendar. Like this is when you'd like to have them. This was an opportunity to pull within half a game of Boston for first in the East and thus NBA. But oh well, that's fine. Like it's not a big deal. It is what it is. It was a frustrating game to watch, and certainly would have wished the Bucks played better and especially took care of the basketball more. But none of this matters. Let's do our other injury. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
There's still 56 games left.
Yeah,
in the regular season.
Yeah, and I think we'll circle back to the Bucks offense in a second. One more piece of injury news to get through right away. Joe Ingles practicing with the Herd. So I was hesitant to say too much about his first Herd assignments other than it's generally good news because we didn't know what he was really doing. I mean, like, sure, he probably was practicing, and now we know he was. Bud said he's getting live ball action. I think he said 5-on-5 too. So clearly he's like really participating. But, you know, really we don't know what exactly someone's doing, just if they're assigned. That could mean almost anything, right? So good news for sure that Ingles has been actually playing basketball in his assignments, like Khris, getting up to game shape, I think, more than maybe rehabbing his injury at this point, or a little bit of both. But good news. I mean, J.I. Xmas surprise is certainly still on the table.
Make sure you listen to Win in 6 for the coach Mike Dunlap tweet updates, because those are just amazing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's great to see Joe Ingles practicing. We've seen the videos of him shooting around pregame as well. Like, obviously, that's leaps and bounds different from playing NBA basketball.
Yep.
But it's just nice to see the progression. And this is what the Bucks have been doing. When they have a guy coming back from injury, they'll assign them to the Herd, get some practice reps in. And that's usually an indication, like we just saw with Khris, that he should be back into the rotation, or back playing, I should say, somewhat soon.
Just say,
not too distant future.
I'll just say, I know we got the J.I. Xmas surprise prophecy. We are 6 days, 5 when you're hearing this, away from the Utah Jazz visiting Milwaukee. I'm just going to say that. That'd be a nice time for him to make his debut this season, I think. That's all I'm going to say.
That would be fun. Is he going to know anyone there, though? Everyone's gone.
That's true. And it's not in Utah either. I mean, that would mean a little bit more, right, to do it in Utah.
But we did see Pat make his return against the Blazers in Milwaukee.
That's true. Well, did the Bucks play the Jazz? No, they didn't. So he would get to play in Utah in late March. So that'll be cool for him too, I'm sure. But yeah, just, throwing that out there. Otherwise, obviously, there's the Christmas game against Boston as well. That would be, really any game. I'm excited to see Joe Ingles. I think
same
at this point, what I'm excited about most with him, well, one, just seeing him, seeing what it is. We just have no idea what he's going to look like. But if he's good, let's just not even dive into what that means yet. We can wait until we see him play. If he's good and he's like a plus on offense, like shooting and playmaking, swap him in for George Hill, this version of the Bucks rotation that we're seeing. And I think that plus just being healthy and Pat playing a little better solves a lot of the offensive problems we've seen in the early part of this season. Because right now the rotation has basically been Jrue Holiday, Grayson Allen, Khris Middleton, again, when healthy, Giannis and Brooke, and then Jevon Carter, George Hill, Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, like a little bit of Wara, a little bit of West when he's healthy, that kind of thing. But it's really been those first 9 guys. If Ingles is like a real plus offensively, that first 9 becomes like, I think, really optimal.
Yeah, excuse me. It just adds to the depth of this team. Just you're getting more options,
Yeah.
so you can actually go to like a hot hand mentality. So it's like if it's like an embarrassment of riches at that point. It's like you have, like, if you're Mike Budenholzer, you have the ability to choose, hey, this guy's shooting the ball really well. This guy's playing really well. Let's insert him. Oh, he's not playing super well. We have a bunch of other guys who could come and take his place. It's just, it's what we thought this Bucks team could be, and Joe Ingles is a big part of that, ideally.
Ideally, but he doesn't exist for now. Okay, let's talk about Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday's on the thing. I'll let you go first. I've been chatting a lot. Rohan, talk about this recent stretch of games for Jrue Holiday. And I want to throw a question at you to start this. It's in the title here. How real do you feel his all-star push is at this point?
Unfortunately, I don't want to sound too down, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to be super real, considering the embarrassment of elite guard play in the Eastern Conference that has just dominated and been the reason that he has not made the All-Star team in recent years as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. But his play is just so good, especially since Khris has come back. You see him being more comfortable. You see a little bit of a lessened load on him as Khris starts to work his way back. Unfortunately, like we touched on earlier, there's going to be a little bit of an absence probably with Khris Middleton out again. But just the way Jrue is going, he's on an absolute tear shooting the basketball. Like, you're getting 50% shooting from deep, 60%, like 40%, like consistent good shooting from deep with Jrue Holiday. Like, we know that step back three has always been there since he's been a member of the Milwaukee Bucks, one of the most efficient step back shooters in the league. And it's just continuing. You saw in this game against the Rockets, he started out and you're like, oh my goodness, Jrue can't miss right now. You can't miss right now. He starts off in the Mavericks game and it's like, wow, this guy is like, you don't want to get too caught up in it because I feel like we've seen a little bit of this story before, and we're always thinking, hey, what if Jrue can do this in the playoffs too? And then he absolutely doesn't do it in the playoffs.
Yes.
But what if he can? like I feel like I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid every damn year at this point. But like, what if he can?
Are you aware of the Arrested Development meme? Are you aware of Arrested Development? Oh, there's these two funny characters. Tobias.
Oh, I think I've seen this. Yeah.
It's like couples there, whatever. It's something that's brought up. It's like, that never works for anyone, but maybe it will for us. That's you right now. I will say, I think some of the exciting thing for me is it's not just the three ball. Like, you look at Jrue's first Bucks seasons, and he shot 39 and 41% from three, even with the hot stretch recently. And today's game's not factored in, so it'll go up a little bit. But Jrue's at 35% from two this season, or from three this season, excuse me. So his three ball has not really been falling. I think, and honestly, at the rim, it's still a little bit of touch and go. There's still some bunnies. I think less bunnies missed than the last couple of years, but still some. His jumper in the mid-range has looked a lot better to me. I think that's what's really been kind of carrying him through this stretch. I didn't realize before I looked today, some of it is, I think a lot of it is Khris, and he didn't play many minutes his first season in Milwaukee, but he is, by per game averages, having Bucks best for him in points, assists, and rebounds per game. So really a lot of production from Jrue so far this season. And yeah, it's been great. And I think really, like, the Dallas win, even being in this game late, is not all, but largely because Jrue has been, like, just phenomenal. And it's really nice to see him kind of knowing he has to step up and continuing to do that night after night.
Yeah, and you mentioned, like, the assist totals going up. While we have seen, like, in the stretch where before Khris came back, you could see these possessions where he seems like he's a bit overtaxed handling the offense, where he'll make, like, these strange assists that end up in turnovers. He'll take weird shots. He'll feel like he's doing too much, and that's a lot of what we saw last postseason in the Boston Celtics series. Is you could see that Jrue is clearly overtaxed in his offensive role. But once a little bit of that gets alleviated, you can see he's more in control. He's more precise because he doesn't have to do as much. There's more pieces around him that's making his life on the offensive end easier. There's less pressure, like defensive pressure focused on him. There's less, there's more offensive talent around him at all times. It's more of a comfort level. It's more of Jrue being sort of taken down a peg, which allows him to thrive. And he has seemed to have been thriving. like you see, like you mentioned, like these past 2 games in Texas, a lot of the reason the Bucks are in these games is because of Jrue Holiday. You're seeing him make the right passes. You're seeing him make the right reads. You're seeing him play off of Giannis really well. You're seeing him hit his shots. There's not a lot more you can ask for. Oh, and by the way, he's playing all NBA level defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Luka talked about it after the game, like trying to deal with Jrue Holiday and how difficult it is. No question. He's just
that's the one thing that never wavers.
No. Yeah, that's why you live with whatever almost you get offensively, is because you always have that. And it's such a big deal.
For sure. And that's one of the reasons why it's like you make that trade in the first place, to go get a guy like Jrue Holiday, because like you mentioned, Luka was surprised like that he hasn't won Defensive Player of the Year before. And it looks like tomorrow or Monday, we have a How Hungry Are You with Jrue Holiday coming out, where they talk Defensive Player of the Year stuff.
That's going to be awesome.
I know. I like Serge. He's good at what he does in terms of content creation.
Oh yeah.
You should have us on there.
I'm down. I've been down. I've got something we should talk about. Mr. 100 or 15,000. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
You know how many players in NBA history have scored 15,000 points? In all of NBA history. How many players? What did I say?
No, yeah. I think
this is NBA and ABA, by the way. We're doing both.
I think it's like 180 or something.
153.
153?
153. Giannis will be top 150 in scoring, probably on Tuesday. Mike Mitchell has 15,016. Sharif Abdur-Rahim has 15,028. So Giannis just cracked 15,000. He has a little bit. I think he's like 15,006 or something. So, yeah, if he has 20 points, he'll be a top 150 all-time NBA and ABA scorer, which is pretty cool. Wow. He's already top 150 in just NBA.
Wow. It's elite company. Last season, obviously, he took over. He passed Kareem as the Bucks' all-time leading scorer, which was just an elite moment. I think about that a lot. Like,
I'm glad it's favorite regular season pods by far.
I think I'm very glad it's in the Win in 6 intro now.
Yeah.
That call.
It belongs there.
Kevin Harlan, just the GOAT.
Kevin rocks.
But Giannis, it's even though we've seen his scoring sort of he's had some weird scoring here and there.
Yeah.
Like in this, what did he have tonight? 16 against the Rockets. He had was it 28?
Like a red hot start against the Rockets too. Like I want to say he had 6-ish points right in the first couple of minutes, so really not a lot over the whole rest of the game.
Yeah, he really did. Like you saw, he had that streak of 8 games of 30 or more points, and then it's like he struggled. Like he fouled out of the Dallas game with 28 points. Now he has 16. It's just it's a little bit of an off couple games from Giannis, but one thing we know about Giannis is that's not going to last long at all.
Yeah,
I would imagine he comes out against the Warriors, which is they're an elite defensive team as always with Draymond and Kevon Looney, but they're just an amazing defensive team.
They are, although I mean, just so you know, we are talking about a team with like 15% winning percentage that they're going to be playing on Tuesday.
15?
They are 2-11 on the road still.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it continues to happen. It really continues to happen. This was the big Jim tweet that we had already talked about. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of other positives besides 15K for Giannis lately, but you know, we'll take that.
Yeah, I will say though, Giannis was trying his best to play some elite defense in that Rockets game.
That's true, and he did have 18 rebounds.
Yes, he was pulling in the boards. To be fair, the Rockets were getting a lot of shots up though, and they were missing a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean,
it makes it a lot easier to get rebounds.
That's the Houston Rockets for you right there.
I mean, they won the game. I can't say anything.
And so Paul Silas, NBA legend, passed away. So his son, Steven Silas, right?
Yes.
Is the coach of the Rockets. He was gone for that game. John Lucas stepped in. The most hype head coach I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, he was going crazy. And I do, it's a good story that the young Rockets, a coach who's like, not the most highly regarded. I think it's hard to coach a team of young guys. It's a difficult position to be in generally. But I think it's kind of cool that they went and won for him. I think that shouldn't be discounted as a factor. They were running hard. They were defending hard. It was a really impressive game from the Houston Young. And not in like we've seen them kind of just chuck their way to some close games before and wins against the Bucks by like, they just get red hot and hit a bunch of shots. This was like, they really got together and played winning damn basketball. And it was great to see. So I will say that. And obviously, our respects and best wishes to the Silas family. Really unfortunate thing to have happened, but
yeah, a real pillar of the NBA community, Paul Silas.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of players who I think are really, I'd say maybe the two players. We'll just put Giannis aside. Giannis always has a ton. I guess we were speaking of Giannis before, but since Jrue Holiday. But anyway, Bobby Portis. All this to say, Bobby Portis, I think, is playing phenomenal basketball. As I termed it earlier, real 90s kind of basketball from Bobby Portis, which is pretty much a nice way of saying his shot from three. I need to specify from three. His other shots falling. His shot from three, still not really.
When are we gonna pull up the receipts on lethal shooting?
Not this pod. Honestly, not this pod. I want to ignore it for a pod because I do think almost like what national folks did with Giannis for a couple of years, I feel like I myself on our last episode did with Bobby in regard to focusing too much on the shooting versus the rest of his game.
For sure. He's been unbelievable. And you're right. We shouldn't talk about the bad things when he's been such a productive player. He's just been a walking double-double this season. He is gobbling up rebounds like I'm just going to stop before I say something.
Hungry hippo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They gobble.
They do. They gobble. Do turkeys gobble?
Yeah, but I think that's different. That's a noise they make. They're not known for eating, I don't think. They gobble.
Yeah. Like Joey Chestnut on whatever that day is.
Yeah, hot dog day. They dunk them in water? Yeah, just to make it slide down. They don't even shoot. No, move on. We lost me. I forgot that's why.
Yeah. he's gobbling up those glizzies. But
Bobby's never coming on the pod if he hears this part.
No, that's Joey Chestnut, not Bobby. But Bobby's gobbling up the rebounds. And that's been something we've been talking about all season long. It's just the shift to being more proactive on the offensive boards. You see him hanging around a lot. One thing I think he's gotten a lot better at is his tip-ins.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times this season, whenever he gets in position for an offensive rebound, he doesn't take the time to bring down the board and then go back up on a second jump. Because I love Bobby. He's a fast dude for a big man. He's not the most explosive athlete in the world. So it's a lot of times on the second jump, you allow for the defender to get back into position and maybe get a contest. But one thing Bobby has gotten really good at is just doing an offensive tip. He might have learned that from Ersan, but maybe not from Ersan, considering they go in on the first try a lot of the time.
Ersan padded the stats.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's one thing I've noticed that's really stood out to me is just his tip-ins on the offensive glass have just been elite. He has such nice touch. I think that's just a perfect encapsulation of Bobby Portis this season, is that he has such nice touch on the inside this season. You see it on the mid-range game, his little jump hook game, his floater game, and on the boards. It's been so nice, so productive to watch. And it's bolstering his Sixth Man of the Year case.
Yeah, we disservice Bobby because we don't talk about more. And I think it was Eric Name kind of but made a joke about earlier in the year that, some broadcast of some other team watching a Bucks game, the other team's broadcast was talking about more or less how Bobby's just a winner, right? That's what he's kind of come to be known as on the Bucks. And that was the opposite of his career and how much that's flipped. And the Bucks, I think, get some credit because they put him in the right ecosystem. Obviously, Bobby gets a lot of credit too. And I think a player who bounced a little bit for a little while there from the Bulls to the Knicks to the Bucks.
Wizards in there too, right?
But it's not showing me that.
Or am I wrong?
I think you're right. Yeah, because I thought that was another team. I was like, that doesn't sound like enough teams.
He did play for the Wizards.
Oh, it was the second part of a trade. When I sorted on B-Ball Ref, it took it away. Wizards 2, thank you. Bounced around for a bit there. The fact that he's just totally, like, doesn't care at all about starting and has just embraced being this guy off the bench. Career highs in assists per game and rebounds per game. As mostly, he has 7 starts this year when guys are out. But, like, the assists per game is a big deal, too. And I think his passing, you'll notice it. Like, those 2 assists per game, it's, there's an assist where it's like, pass to Giannis in transition and he goes a third of the floor. It's like, okay, nice assist. You made an open pass. That's not that crazy.
Yeah.
Bobby's assists have been nice. Like, he's in the paint moving and he finds in this Rockets game an open Jrue Holiday in the corner for 3 in a time the Bucks really needed it. And he doesn't do it a ton, as people joke. I think this was joked about in 10 Things, Zach Lowe's column. He's usually shooting when he's within the arc. The way he shot, that's fine. He's one of the top 3 players in the NBA in double-doubles coming off the bench. I mean, the luxury of what is he right now? Like 13 and 10 guy off the bench as your 6th man? That is an insane luxury to have. And it says a lot about Bobby that he's just totally bought in. He also seems to be getting better every year, shot aside. And he's been great to watch. He's been a great stabilizer. I think that's something the Bucks really need. And if they are healthy for a playoff run, I think it's going to be a big deal as we go down playoff series to have someone with that level of intensity coming in to play a team that's already a little tired from playing against Giannis and Brooke and Khris and Jrue, etc. for the first few minutes of the game. Then you get fresh legs Bobby coming at you too. I think it's going to be really effective. I'm really excited to watch him this whole year. I mean, he's taken the rebounding to a whole new level, and doing that with the passing has unlocked a lot for him, even again with the shot not being there so far.
Yeah, you mentioned like we saw a little bit of that in the Rockets game. Excuse me, where you just you see Jabari Smith Jr. having to fight for his life trying to guard Giannis in the first couple minutes. Then it's like, okay, Giannis subs out or midway through the first quarter as he always does. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Bobby Portis is in now. Have fun with that, Jabari. I think Steve Novak, great color commentary from Steve Novak as always. That kid.
You mean Jabari Parker? Wasn't it Jabari Parker who's on the Rockets?
That's what I was going to say. He just kept calling him Jabari Parker. And I was like, no, Steve, that is not who that is. Is he even in the league?
No.
Yeah, he's not in the league.
I don't think so.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Jabari's NBA career. Maybe not.
Yeah, you never know.
But maybe he's the real Taiwan MVP.
Isn't Dwight Howard having 50 games over there?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I heard he took 10 threes in his first game.
Yeah, it's been an experience. Apparently, DeMarcus Cousins might go there too.
Oh man, that's gonna be a lot. I know Greg Monroe is in a league like that now too.
Mm-hmm.
We're losing legends.
Yeah, just the elite bigs of this generation: Dwight Howard, DeMarcus Cousins, Greg Monroe.
I mean, kind of, yes.
Greg. Yes.
Did he have an All-Star? No.
But back to Bobby though. He's just been absolutely incredible. Also, one thing, he's the only short roll operator that the Bucks really have. You mentioned his passing game. And that's something that can really be unlocked that we've seen a little bit, is if him just operating out of that sort of mid-post area off a roll, he can go drive to the rim, he can hit a little floater, and he can pass the ball. He's one of the only guys on the roster who can really do that. He's one of 3 bigs on the roster. Serge isn't doing that.
Nope.
Obviously. Nope. 1, because he's not playing. 2, because when Serge gets the ball inside the arc, he's just going to either throw it up towards the basket or throw it 5 feet out of bounds.
Guess Serge's assists per game.
0. It's got to be
0.3.
I was like, I don't remember the last time Serge had an assist.
The only 2 players lower are AJ Green and Thanasis, who both play 5 minutes or less per game.
Let's go. I love that. But yeah, Serge isn't doing that. Brook Lopez doesn't really do that as well. That's not his game. He's not going to be passing when he's getting the ball.
No.
Because he's just going to put it up, and then most of the time it'll just somehow go in.
Yeah.
Because he has such nice toucher on the basket. But that's not really how he operates. Bobby's really that only guy. And that's one thing, if you want to diversify the Bucks offense a little bit more, having Bobby operate out of the short roll a little bit more gives you more offensive versatility.
Yeah, it's been nice, and I think him adding the passing is really beneficial to that. It's funny. I think like Bobby always gets hit with the doesn't pass when he's in the paint thing. Brook is like at half the assists per game. Brook
is way
never
worse.
passes.
No,
I don't think he's very good at passing, so I kind of get why, but you kind of know what's going to happen with the possession when it gets to Brook within the paint. Since we brought up Serge, I do think we should touch on the MarJon Serge disappearance. I do think it seems like whatever they were sick with is termed a non-COVID illness was like pretty bad because they were out for a long time. And I know
you guys get your boosters, by the way.
Yep. I got the double boosty. I had a bad day because of it, but it was worth it because now I don't have whatever that was, hopefully.
That plus flu? Yeah.
Knock on wood, yeah. But I know you floated this. Might be some more Bucks conditioning happening with those two. Just because if you're out for that long, you're not able to work out. Yeah, it's like how much weight have you lost?
That takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. So that I think with the focus, does that seem like a focus to you this year from the staff is conditioning, basketball conditioning? I feel like we're hearing about it more than we ever did before.
I mean, it's also I feel like we've had more Bucks players like having prolonged absences this year, which is maybe partly why you get into that because it's like conditioning only comes into play when you're away from the game for a long time. Like Khris Middleton hadn't played basketball and been able to touch a basketball for months. So you have to work your way into conditioning. Same thing's happening with Joe Ingles. Like if Giannis misses a game here or there, misses a few games, it's still not to a level where he's going to be out of shape. But if you have like MarJon Beauchamp, you have Serge Ibaka missing extended periods of time with an illness. Like if you're out for 2 weeks with an illness as an NBA player, that usually means it's pretty significant. Obviously they're feeling better now. They're cleared for activity, but you do need to get back into the rhythm of basketball. And again, I think it just speaks to what this Bucks medical staff takes priority, this organization takes priority in, and that it's just like making sure all their guys are right before they throw them back out there. Like making sure everything is okay. They're in their best physical shape. They're the best. They're primed to have their best ability. No chance of actual re-injury or like getting them out there too quickly or anything. So I think it's just normal everyday activity from the Bucks medical staff.
Yeah, and I think it's not a coincidence that MarJon continues to be assigned down to the herd. You know, maybe Serge is closer. Maybe Serge. I mean, these last two games have not been good. They're not games the Bucks need a second true center. Dallas was too small for Brook. Houston kind of was too. Like really small teams who either through athleticism or shooting stretch out the Bucks, and they're just going to play
like
smaller.
Their starting center is Şengün. It's just like we have Jokic at home.
Yeah, I think Brook against Şengün, you feel okay, but when they go to the bench, it's like they're so
Garuba.
tiny. Yeah, it's Garuba or like KJ Martin. It seemed like was taking some shifts. Like I guess Jabari might have been their center for a couple of minutes. Like they are tiny. It's tough for Brook defensively, and then the Dallas. Everyone just shoots on Dallas. Like it's just hard for him with the spacing wise. So maybe
that's why JaVale McGee has been excised for
JaVale McGee. Sounds like a Shaq alter ego. But yeah, also he's just not good. But yeah, JaVale would have been great for Brook to play against. Unfortunately, Jason Kidd only took him 20 games to figure that one out. But yeah, I think maybe Serge is closer, and it's just not been good matchups for him. But I know there's been a lot of where's MarJon, and it's like, I mean, he's probably getting back to basketball shape, and Warwick continues to get run for the month until he's trade eligible. Is all I'll say on that.
Maybe they should stop giving him run. Because he's kind of taken his value. Like those 3 minutes he was out there today are one of the most disastrous couple minutes I've ever seen from an NBA player.
5 minutes, thank you.
5 minutes, excuse me.
-5, -1.
They were so bad.
Yeah. Let's talk about the starter thing. I feel like we haven't dove into this for a while. And now it's going to be thrown out of focus again with whatever happens with Khris being out. Assume Jevon slides back in. I guess we'll see. But Jevon versus Grayson. Grayson, until the Houston game, I think you look at it and go, he's played well enough. He totally He's played enough to keep stasis. Whether you still would like to see the change for the good of the rest of the team or not, that's a different story. But Grayson had played really well. He was abysmal against Houston. 2 for 12, really bad turnover, blew an open dunk, just totally biffed it, and the Bucks did not get the ball back.
Man, I thought he was Jordan.
Like that and the failed alley-oop to Giannis are like in crunch time in a game the Bucks were right there for. Like probably games or plays that together, it wasn't all Grayson's fault, but those 2 plays probably do cost the Bucks the game in the grand scheme of things. But a lot of things went wrong in that game. Again, it's not like everyone else was perfect and Grayson had 2 bad plays, but he was poor. The other thing, though, was Jevon played well in this game, had been on a really cold shooting stretch, though. It's like 30 and 20 field goal and 3-point splits over his last 5 games. So I think Grayson was playing really well. Jevon was not playing all that well. This tonight, or Sunday night, as you listen to this on Monday, Jevon 3 for 5, all threes, had a pretty good game. She's been less involved, though. So what are your general thoughts on those 2 guys, who should start, and how they've been playing?
I think it's still a little tough to tell, considering that we haven't seen like a good version of Khris Middleton yet. He's still like trying to find his way back into the fold, which is understandable. Like he was out for X amount of months, whatever it was, 8 months, I don't know. But you see, like it's hard to tell because you haven't seen the idealized version of the team yet. It'll take a little bit more time. Hopefully, Khris gets back into first of all gets healthy soon, and then gets back into a rhythm soon.
Yeah,
but you're right. Jevon does seem a little less involved. I know we talked about this last week, where it's like you sort of see a little bit of a timidness from him coming off the bench now compared to him starting every other game prior to Khris's return. And it's you just have to wonder, like, does he just perform better as a starter? And does Grayson just perform like should he be relegated to a bench role? I think the idealized version of Grayson should absolutely be a starter. But the question is, are we going to get the idealized version of Grayson?
Are we going to get the idealized version of Jay Crowder?
I don't know. Boss Man 99's just sitting there.
Did you hear about the Wizards Suns trade that was percolating?
No.
Kuzma for Cam Johnson and salary and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if Crowder would be in that or not. I mean, if he's on the Wizards, he's pretty much up for grabs because they stink.
Yeah, they are. They're way bad. But no, Kuzma would be an amazing Buck.
Yeah. I just don't like him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And he's also going to cost too much.
Yeah. He's a good player, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, Grayson, like we've seen some flashes. Like we've seen, like he's grown a lot this season in terms of his playmaking, in terms of his drives to the rim. His finishing has gotten a lot better as the season has gone on. And I've talked about this before. He's growing as a player. He's adding more to his game this season. And you're going to have some growing pains with that. It's like he's been asked to do a lot more than he had been previously with Khris out. It's just, I don't know. It's like, are we ever going to see a fully idealized version of Grayson Allen? I don't know. Jevon might be like he's obviously. I thought he should start because he was the safer option and he had proven himself to be the better starter. And I think you might have to consider doing that again.
So I think there's confounding factors here. I think I would rather have Grayson coming off the bench by the time we get to the playoffs, because I think his biggest problem is just pure like fluctuation in his level of play. And I think him starting kind of amplifies that and can really, like, it can put you up big early, but it can also kind of put you in a hole early. And it's just a little too risky for my liking, because Jrue and Khris are kind of like that too. And I don't really love your 1 through 3 being 3 guys who have pretty wild fluctuations. And Jevon will in scoring, but it feels usually more role dependent and shooting volume dependent than it does like Jevon's playing bad. Jevon, to me, plays almost the same game every night with a different number of shots and a different level of how much they go in. But the games don't usually look that much different. He'll go 1 for 5, right? And he did that recently. it doesn't look like, oh, he's pressing. He just takes 5 Jevon shots and only one of them happens to go in, which is basketball. It's life. But the whole game looks the same. Grayson plays bad, and I don't know if it's just like trying to be a body language PhD or what, but sometimes it just starts to look bad. It's like, oh, now what is he doing? Oh, he tried to snap out of it and do this vicious dunk, and he hit back on it and it went out. He tried to throw an alley-oop, and it was awful. I just feel like it compounds more.
Man went split-legged Statue of Liberty. Like he took him from like just inside the elbow. I was like, what is happening right now?
And it almost worked, but it didn't, and that's what matters. But I think the other thing too, though, and I think Jevon could still be a good bench player. I think the issue for me with him lately, he's not being asked to handle the ball enough. Which is, I said this when he first went to the bench. It's like, honestly, I don't care that much, but he needs to handle the ball. For whatever reason, we've seen more of George Hill on ball. And it's like George Hill hasn't played terrible these last couple games. He played good against Dallas, made a couple of fourth quarter threes. He did not take a shot against Houston, which is very on brand. It is minus 11 in his 14 minutes. Really just did not accomplish anything. My issue with him is twofold. One, if he's on ball, it's kind of just a waste of time. Like, he just kind of goes around, oh, what's the floor like over here? Okay, nothing to do. I'll throw an entry pass and walk away for the rest of the possession. And I would rather see Jevon, which we've seen him have more success actually accomplishing things with the ball. Also, I think George's defense has been quietly below replacement level. That was his thing for a long time, was he was such a good positional defender. These last couple of games, I just feel like guys are getting separation from him pretty easily. So
he also caught the ball in the corner this game and just dribbled out of bounds.
Yeah, that was an odd decision.
And I was like,
anything but shoot for George.
I'm not an NBA player. I'm not close. But I don't think that's what you're supposed to do.
That is not what you're supposed to do.
It's almost like Serge leaving the ball when he tried to dribble that one.
That was more understandable, though, because I don't expect Serge to be good at dribbling. George should be at least okay at dribbling. He's had a great career. I just think the miles are catching up this year, and it feels noticeable. But I think whether Jevon starts or not, and again, I would prefer if Grayson did not start and if Jevon did, but they need to, which we saw in the preseason and early this season, he needs to be the designated backup point guard. He's better at it than anybody else they have. And he's damn good at it. It's not just desperation. He's good at it. I don't think he's being used properly right now.
I agree 100%. Give the ball, give more responsibilities to Jevon. Let him operate. I don't know why I can't talk right now, but I said JaVale Mizgi or whatever I said earlier, and I'm just fumbling through my words. But no, absolutely. Just let Jevon cook. At the end of the day, let him cook.
Here. Don't pull that one out often. Here. Pat Connaughton. Still not shooting well.
Yeah.
Are we worried yet? Is worried the right word? It's annoying.
Concerned.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even think I'm concerned. I'm just like...
Agitated?
Agited's good. I think I'm agitated. I'm not mad at Pat. I'm just ready for him to start hitting them.
Yeah, because he's at 26.9%, or a little bit below that now because of the Rockets game. But like sub 28% from three on the season so far. Like, it's been what? How many games has it been? Like 10 games?
11 now.
11 now.
Actually, no. This might have the new stats. I think it's 10.
Oh, it is 10. Yeah. So it's still early. Like, he missed a lot of time. At some point, we got to be a little concerned here. Like
25.9%. I think the issue is for Pat, and this is admirable. He has not changed the way he plays one bit, which is what you should do. You're a good NBA player, a big-time rotation player on the Bucks. They need him, and he knows this. But the problem is, with the way he's playing, that play style is very detrimental. And there are times when he will take 2 threes in like a minute, and it kind of kills the momentum because they are thunderous bricks. I don't think he should change the approach. I think he needs to keep playing. I think the floodgates will open. I have all the belief in the world that Pat Connaughton is going to start knocking down the threes again. I am not worried that he's just not a good shooter all of a sudden because of, what was it? Calf injury for Pat, was it?
Yeah.
39%, 37% the last 2 years on 640 attempts from deep. That is a much bigger sample than the less than 60 he's taken this year. I think it's rust. I think he'll knock it off. Boy, I hope he does it soon because these have been tough minutes to watch. He does some good stuff defensively. KJ Martin gave him some issues. He's rolling, gets to the rim and finishes there pretty nice. But, oh, goodness, the threes have not been kind to him.
Yeah, it really hasn't. Like, we've seen Pat go through these slumps before in his Bucks career. Like, his first year in Milwaukee was an absolute roller coaster with him shooting the basketball. So we'll see. We'll see if he can work his way out of a slump like he has before in the past. Also, I can't get over the fact that the Bucks keep playing against Kenyon Martin Jr. Like, I remember when Kenyon Martin was on the Bucks. We
had to, talk ourselves into that being exciting, too.
Oh, God, it wasn't.
His former teammates going to really unlock him.
I remember I remember the first game that Kenyon Martin played with the Bucks. He caught a lob, and I was like, "What? This dude is should have AARP benefits right now. Like, how is he catching lobs right now?"
I wonder if that was the last one he caught.
I think it was. It probably was. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that it was. But now they're playing against Kenyon Martin Jr. God, I feel old.
Yeah. Every year there's new football players are coming fast and furious now, dude. Every year there's 4 more football players that it's no way. Can't be. Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
I feel we're 10 months away from Giannis Antetokounmpo, playing in the G League Ignite or something. I'm not ready for it.
I feel like it's going to happen soon. Once Bronny's in the league, then it's oh, God.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, that's a year or so away, year or two away.
Well, we almost had Shaq's kid, right?
Yeah, Sharif.
Sharif is in. He's a pro now, but he's at
the Ignite, isn't
he? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Bucks stuff. What other Bucks should we talk about?
I don't know. It's been a little up and down. We've had a lot of guys missing time. Obviously, we didn't talk about this. Wes Matthews is in health and safety protocols. Yeah. Been like that. Get well soon, Wes. So he hasn't been playing recently. Otherwise, I feel I don't know. Have we touched on everyone?
We didn't really talk about Brook. Had a tough couple of games. Had some good moments in them. I need him to.
That block he had though this game.
I don't know if you saw my Discord message. I thought the force and how squarely he got it while it was still, I don't know the offensive player. I couldn't tell who it was. I thought the guy was going to get slammed down on his back like an anime scene. When a punch gets caught and the guy who threw the punch is that's what it looked like. And I thought he was going to get thrown backwards. It was so forceful and direct.
We've seen that. We've seen that before. Brooks done that to Aaron Gordon last season. That was a ridiculous block. So you're still getting good, not even good, elite defense from Brook Lopez. Just you're not seeing a ton of stuff on the offensive end. He's cooled off in terms of shooting. He's taken some weird shots, like that 3 he took from the corner in the Rockets game, where it's just he takes a lot. Brook Lopez takes a lot of shots where he's just I'm taller than you. I'm going to shoot over you.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't care where you are. I know that I am bigger than you and I'm just going to shoot. But also Brook, relax, bro. You can do other things, or you could, pass the ball. That's also an option in that situation.
Yeah.
You don't have to shoot just because you can.
His cooldown is only 3 games now. He was 3 for 5 against Charlotte and Lakers, and then 2 for 7 sack, 0 for 1 against Dallas, and then 1 for 4 against Houston. So it is a cooldown, but it's not an ice age yet, and hopefully we avoid that. And the Noah has just fixed Brook. It sure would be nice.
Yeah, so we say this, and he's going to go 9 for 11 from 3.
All in the first 8 minutes somehow.
Yeah.
That's
and then
he's
just not going to score.
Yeah. Won't even shoot again.
Yeah. He wants to preserve those percentages.
Exactly. I don't blame him.
But yeah, it's just you want to see a little bit on the offensive end, but you can't really complain too much when he's still providing elite rim protection. Best rim protection in the league. I'm going to go out and say it.
Yeah. And I think it's just normal. I mean, I guess we got used to all-star Brook level, and hopefully he's still on track for that. But he had 7 points against Houston, Like he had 4 against Dallas. Like in his Bucks tenure, it's very normal for Brook to randomly score like 5 points. It just happens. Like he's not at his age and the load he carries defensively. As you mentioned, you just can't expect, I think, a great offensive night every single night from Brook Lopez.
Yeah, it's asking too much.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing then. What are your expectations for the rest of this tough 10-game stretch? They're 1-1 so far.
I mean, I think this is probably like these last 2 games have been a kick in the pants that the Bucks really need. We've seen Giannis sort of go through some struggles. Like I mentioned earlier when we talked about Giannis, that's not going to last very long, knowing Giannis's track record. So I think we're gonna see an absolute tear. We know this Bucks team rises to the level of competition, and sometimes plays down to it, which is why you see these stinkers against the Rockets.
Yeah.
And the Mavs, even though they won that game. They did not deserve to win that game.
Hilarious game.
It was so funny.
The video of the Bucks knowing the last play and Luka knowing the Bucks know the last play, good.
It's so good. Classic Jason Kidd coaching right there. I mean, the Bucks can't say a lot considering they just ran the Khris play for eternity. But
they really haven't. I think the last year and a half, 2 years.
No, like they used to. They used to.
You know what I want to see again? You're going to guess this. Guess what end of game play I want to see again that I loved from last season. Do you remember? No, wow. Oh, no. Awkward. The Giannis just run toward the hoop against Charlotte.
Oh,
the the crazy
get him going downhill.
He literally started like 10 feet from the other baseline and just like ran, and they threw him the ball and he just got to the rim. I love that. Do that more.
It's a good play. Get a little down screen going on his way there, and it's just like you get him moving, momentum.
Yeah, I'll take him one-on-one against anyone.
Yeah, I'll take him 1-on-2 against most people.
True.
Yeah, 1-on-3 is a little tough.
Yeah.
But we've seen him do it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. The Bucks have gotten a lot more creative on their end of game plays, like their out of bounds plays. Like credit to Mike Budenholzer, and no credit to Jason Kidd.
Yeah, ever.
No, never. Mavs fans are learning real quick what Bucks fans went through.
I think they know now. I think they're there.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
No,
it's just expediting the Luka to Milwaukee scenario.
How is it not talked about more that they know how good this offseason Luka is, and they let Jalen Brunson walk, and the big move is getting Christian Wood?
I don't know. I asked myself that same question, Ty, but I want the Luka to Milwaukee narrative to
I think the Luka to everywhere narrative is going to be fire, because look at this terrible team. They have.
And he's playing like he's a top 5 player in the league.
He is. How many years has he been first team All NBA now? Like he is.
I think it's 3 years now. Yeah. Like it's who he is.
The fact that they have failed this badly to get elite talent around him. Like, sure, the first 2 years when he's still, so young and you're not sure going in what it's going to be like, that's different. But by this point, like, last couple of years,
we made the conference finals.
Like, we know, not good enough. They got to figure that out. You can't just not put talent around a guy like that.
Yeah, you can't make the conference finals, then let your second best player walk.
And just like, we got Christian Wood for parts. There we go. Okay.
It's solved.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is getting healthy, so we're good.
Yeah, it actually wasn't the Porzingis trade. It was the Tim Hardaway Jr. trade.
Yeah. Dinwiddie's actually been, really good there. Interesting career, Spencer Dinwiddie. Could see him being a Buck someday, a couple years from now. Don't know why, but I could see that.
Yeah, I think so. Following that George Hill arc.
Yeah, seems like one of those guys who's just going to I want to go to a bunch of good teams in my latter part of my career. And be fun.
Is he still taking his contract in crypto?
Let's just move on. might have to be playing for a long time if he has to. You might have to play for a lot of years.
That's how he's definitely on his George Hill arc then.
We're doing a giveaway. If you haven't entered,
we are doing a giveaway.
2021. I think Wisconsin Herd basketball. We've identified, I believe, Tremont Waters, Rajon Tucker, a couple other players. So definitely you want to get that. Join the GSPN Discord at gspn.info. Leave your favorite moment from any GSPN pod, Eurostep, win in 6, yada, 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 in the giveaways channel in the Discord, and you can be entered to win that basketball. We'll get it to you. I believe we're drawing a name a week from today as you hear this, so get that entry in. We're not ranking these. It's just going to be random, so get your entry in, and hopefully you win. Good luck to you, whoever you are.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's so heartwarming to read these.
It's been really cool. Yeah.
I love that really channel. Cool. Even the people calling me out for my playback stuff, which is just extended to anything. I'm just cursed.
Yeah, what did you tweet today? The day of the Rockets game?
Bucks hot shooting night. Like they started out hot and then they just they fell off a cliff.
Oh man.
It's just I don't know what it is. Like I feel like I'm pretty lucky in life, so they had to like the universe had to take something away from me.
Wow. So you're just like Giannis was shooting.
Yeah, so they took away my ability to like call things. And
if there's anyone you hate, you know, you should tweet just like it's going to be a great 2020s for Jason Kidd. I can tell it's going to be a great decade for that guy. No, you shouldn't. Like your powers are too great. You might actually feel bad based on what happens, which seems impossible with Kidd. But you know, I don't want to test what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I might be too powerful, Ty, based on this. But I think we're all wrapped up here.
Yeah.
I'd say thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on the Eurostep Podcast Network. If you did enjoy the show, make sure you're subscribed on your podcast platform of choice and or YouTube. I'll say and. Yeah, do both. Why not? Cook the books. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you check out all of the GSPN podcasts and at gspn.info. I'm fumbling still.
We're like the Bucks. We're embodying the Bucks against the Rockets here.
Yeah,
that's how dedicated we are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had to watch that, so it was sort of osmosis.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, check out Talk of the Tundra, Cruising for a Bruise, and make time for this. Like all of the good stuff, and of course, Win in 6 is going to be on this same feed that you're listening to this here. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Pod Random, and we'll talk to you next time.